Hey everyone, it's Georg. Welcome back. I hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I'm going to go through some travel tips for those of you that are looking to make the trip to Rome, the Eternal City. So if you're going to go, here's some things that I think you should be thinking about that hopefully you will plan when you're packing and also visiting this amazing city. So first things first, some packing tips. Wear comfortable shoes. You're going to end up walking for miles and miles and miles. It's pretty good roads, and even the cobblestone is pretty easy to walk on, but you're going to end up walking a lot more than probably what you think you are going to go. So probably no high heels, no big shoes, even hiking shoes. I'd stick to really good tennis shoes with good soles, good traction, and you will do just fine. So comfortable shoes are paramount. Also, weather. Check the weather before you go to see whether you need to pack a light rain jacket. It can also be chilly in the winter time, so making sure you pack maybe a sweatshirt or maybe a heavier jacket depending on what time of year that you're going. Also, this is big when you're coming to Rome and you're packing. You need to dress appropriately if you're doing things like the Vatican, you're going into churches. Now, yes, if it's not the Vatican, many places will allow you to come in with shorts, but there are some churches, especially the Vatican, that does crack down on that. They won't let you in, so make sure that you dress appropriately. Read the rules if you're going to go to a certain attraction, and make sure you have slacks on. Sometimes they won't do jeans either. You have to have dress slacks or pants, something of that nature. Blouses or shirts covering the shoulder, so no tank tops. Just make sure that you're mindful and checking the rules before you go, so that way while you're packing you can pack appropriately. And then make sure that you have the right travel adapter for Europe. So if you're coming from the US, going to Europe, most of you make sure you'll check out, you can get on Amazon or at the airport, an adapter so your phones and computers will work while you're in Rome. And then it's worth it to have a small bag or backpack, not a big purse, not a big backpack, but a small one while you're walking around. Oftentimes, for some attractions, you'll need to use lockers. They won't allow you to walk through exhibits with big backpacks or big purses. So just make sure maybe a little smaller might be better. Also, things that have anti-theft protection. I'll get to that in a little bit. The next thing is getting around Rome. Use the public transportation. It is really good when you're using it, needing taxis and buses to get around the city. I will say some of the buses don't always run on time, so you have to be careful of that, depending on if you have a certain time frame you need to get to an attraction or get someplace. You could also, depending on how long you're going to be there, buy a weekly pass. It's called the CIS ticket, so that way you could do unlimited travel on public transport. I'd highly recommend that, especially if you like using the buses as a way to get around. Walking is going to be your main way to get around Rome, depending on where your hotel is or where you get dropped off in the city. Most attractions are going to be in walking distance. If not, you can always think about taking a taxi. Use taxis. They're every place. And I would say that they're pretty reasonable. For the dozens of times that we've used them, we've never felt like we've been taken for the scenic route or anything. They do a really good job. Just realize that in the summertime, as the traffic gets clogged up, you may be waiting a long time in a taxi, and you may realize that often it's quicker to walk from one attraction to the other than to take a taxi, especially in the summertime. So something to think about. And then lastly, avoid driving. I would not recommend getting a rental car and driving in Rome. It is absolute sheer madness, and it's just going to add stress. Even if you would love driving, by the time you're done, you're going to be happy to take the car to the rental car company, and you're not going to want to drive for months. It can be nerve-wracking. Let the taxi drivers do the driving for you. Do not drive in Rome. If you can at all avoid it, avoid it. And then next up, I'm going to talk about the main places why you're going there, or the attractions like the Pantheon, the Colosseum, the Vatican, the Forum, any of the 900 churches that are all over Rome. A pro tip, and from going there multiple times, something I want you to think about. If you want to get the best photos, where you don't have thousands of people in the photos and it's just you or you and your loved ones, go early to these attractions. Now, it doesn't mean you can get inside them. Most of them aren't going to open up before, I think, like 9 or 10 o'clock. Some open a little, have early bird. But if you wanted the Spanish Steps, go at 6 or 7 in the morning. If you want a great shot of the front of the Pantheon with no one there, same thing, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Trevi Fountain, usually there's dozens of places where you can get an amazing shot there. And if you go at 8 o'clock at night, there's probably 5,000 people there. But if you go at 6 or 7 in the morning, again, you can get right up close and have minimal amount of people in your shot, so you can really get the best photos. So go early and you can get some great external shots of wherever you want to go to. After about 8 in the morning, it's too late. There's already people queuing up to get into lines to places. But get up early, tool around, go see what you want to see, take the photos and get that out of the way. So also 4 major attractions like the Colosseum and Forum, the Vatican Museum, St. Peter's Basilica, Pantheon. Get your tickets early whenever you can, because sometimes they are days or weeks out that they book out. And also, if you have the ability to do skip the line, if there's somewhere, even if you're paying more on Viator, Get Your Guide or something, to do a skip the line ticket, I would highly recommend doing that whenever possible. It's worth it. You have a limited amount of time that you're going to be in Rome, and you don't want to be waiting for 2 hours to get into the Colosseum for, let's say, an hour and a half tour. That's too much time. If you can do a skip the line where you just show up at your allotted time and get entry, that's very important. So skip the line tours, something to think about for sure. And places like Piazza Navona, Spanish Step, there's plenty of restaurants, not so much Spanish Steps, but around Piazza Navona. Take in the music. Every time we go, it seems like there's somebody that just got married or is getting married, so they're taking photos in the piazza. It's a beautiful place to people watch and just relax and let your feet up and just give them a break from all the walking that you're going to be doing. Now, often you have the main attractions that you need to see, whether you're going for the first time or you're going for the 5th time. But some other areas of the city that you may want to think about and things you may want to do. The Trastevere neighborhood, that area has really become very popular. It used to be 10 years ago, it was off the beaten path. Now it's become foodie central in Rome. So it's great with these little winding roads and lots of cafes and restaurants and amazing food. But often you have to get reservations in advance. Some places don't take reservations. You just have to queue up, and if you get in, great. If you don't, too bad. But that's a great area to walk around. I would do takeaway. Supli, like these little rice balls, or maybe a slice of pizza and walk around, some gelato. To me, that's more of a takeaway area, and just admire the beautiful part of Rome. You can also go see the Appian Way. You can rent a bike and bike along the Appian Way if you choose to. The Villa Borghese Gardens and Gallery, it's a pretty immense place to walk through, and if you just want to grab some wine and relax, just enjoy, especially if it's the summertime or spring or fall, the good weather. Sometimes they'll have concerts in the park. They'll also have movies that they show in the summertime. And the gallery, the Borghese Gallery, is something that's also a little off the beaten path. Amazing place to go, especially in the summer when you need you need to get out of the hot air and the humid weather. It's a good place to check out for sure. Aventine Hill, that is a place where there is a keyhole of the Knights of Malta. There are a couple of other attractions up there, but that's what people usually go do and see. I will say get there early. Again, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, because if you get there by 9, there can be an hour or 2 wait just to be able to put your phone up to the keyhole to get a shot, which you can go find on Google. It's a neat place to walk around, but there's not a lot up there. But I want to let you know about it because it's a little bit off the beaten path for sure. And then for eating and drinking, there's so much in Rome. There's hundreds of great restaurants. I can't tell you that this is the best place you're going to have pizza or the best place for something. I will say when it's cacio e pepe, carbonara, pizza, we go to a place called Di Rienzo's. It's a bistro Di Rienzo, and they have a location facing the Pantheon, but on a side street, they have a little bistro. It's a tobacco shop, and outside where you can enjoy the beautiful weather, people watch, and also get a nice view of the front of the Pantheon. That place, it's going to have the best carbonara you're going to have in Rome. And if you have a better one, please leave one in the comments. And also, when it comes to restaurants, I don't like giving specific places. If you have great restaurant options, put them in the comments for other people and viewers to be able to see. Here's the best place for carbonara, the best spaghetti, or the best pizza, the best gelato, the best coffee. Please throw them in there. Gelato. Also, there's 100 of great places. We like Fata Morgana as one of the locations, but I don't know that I've had bad gelato in Rome. I'm also a sucker. I'm not a connoisseur of it. I love all gelatos, so don't take me. I'm not a good critic because I love food in general. But coffee as well. There's some great places right around the Pantheon. There's St. Eustachio Coffee. Do really like the coffee there, but I will say that there are so many great places to be able to get an espresso or get a latte or a cappuccino. It's all good. Just go and try out different places. And it's very affordable too. It's cheap to get coffee there. So go try several different places and put in the comments which ones you think are the best. Some things to think about for those of you that are really interested in spending more than just a couple of days. The Roma Pass, I would recommend going and looking at that and seeing what attractions, what you're looking to do in Rome, and see if the Roma Pass might save you a few euros getting that. Simple things, practical things, avoid peak times. So usually the mornings are really tough and early afternoons at most attractions. Many of them later in the day get a little better as far as not as many people. Also realize if you're going in the high tourist season, so from late May through mid-August, it doesn't matter. It's going to take a long time to get into everything, so just be aware of that. I would do your best to find a hotel somewhere in central Rome where you can walk to everything, where you don't need to be out in the outskirts and you have to take a train or an Uber or a bus into the city or a taxi. Find a place, an accommodation where you can walk to everything with the exception of maybe one or two attractions where everything is walkable. It's going to save you money in the long run. It'll save you time, which you don't have a lot of, and stress, which you don't need, especially when you're on vacation. Hydrate. Get a refillable water bottle or take a water bottle packet. There are many places throughout Rome that have fillable water stations. They look like little, almost like fire hydrants, but it's a great clean city water that you can fill up your water bottle. Also, like for instance, at the Spanish Steps, our tour guide one day just went to the Spanish Steps, and on one side of a water fountain at the bottom of the steps, she filled up her water bottle, and we were going, well, we didn't realize you could do that. And she said, yeah, this is an area where you're allowed to fill up your water bottle with the water coming out of the water fountain. After she did that, about 7 or 8 people lined up to do it because they didn't know that they could. So there's lots of places. Make sure you stay hydrated for sure. Learning a few Italian phrases can't hurt. Many of us know Italian phrases from food, if you will. But maybe, just a few phrases might help you get out of a jam or just in a specific situation. It always helps to learn a few words or a few phrases in a native language of a place that you're going to visit. So there's lots of apps that can help you along the way, and you may already know a few phrases, so that's nothing to worry about. I would be aware, this is something that everyone needs to be thinking about, scams. I will say that pickpocketing is a big deal in Rome. It happens on the buses, it can happen on trains, it can happen outside the Colosseum while you're waiting to get into the Colosseum, the Pantheon, going into St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican. Anywhere that you're waiting outside, especially if you have a backpack, it's a congested area, it's easy for people to kind of walk by, unzip something and take something out. You don't even know that it's happening. So make sure that if you have a backpack or a small backpack or a purse, they make purses with anti-theft devices. They also make backpacks where you can't like take a little knife and open it up. Keep your valuables in your front pockets, both men and women, whether it be wallets, phones. Don't put anything in your back pocket, put it in your front pocket. Often when I'm waiting in line for something, I'll have one hand in my front pocket, which is usually my phone and wallet or passport, so then that way no one can take it. It's just something to be aware of. Situational awareness is a big thing to be aware of for sure. And then, like I said earlier, skip the line. Whenever you can do that, you only have a certain amount of time. Spend the extra money to do a skip the line tour where it's feasible and it makes sense for you to do that. Tipping, also something to think about, practical tip, especially those of you coming from America, you're used to tipping 20%. In Italy, it's not a requirement at all. Now, often there will be a service charge put on the ticket. So when you get your bill or you get your check at the end of the meal, you may want to see if there is a 10 or 12% service charge. And if that's the case, then you don't need to put on any tip. And honestly, you don't need to put on any tip whether there's a service charge or not. It's really, if you feel like there's really good service and you want to tip, 50 cents or €1, go for it, depending. But there's no obligation to do so. Lastly, again, this is be respectful of religious sites. If you're on a tour of something, they will tell you ahead of time of how to dress. Often like a collared shirt or something below the shoulders, slacks, no shorts, swimming trunks or shorts, flip-flops. When we went to the Vatican each time, it was more of a dress shirt and slacks with some dress shoes. I have seen people in there with tennis shoes, but it's rare. It's something that some churches outside of the Vatican, they're pretty formal about how they want to do things, and you don't want to go with shorts and flip-flops hoping that you're going to get in. You're going to get turned away more likely than not. Many of the other churches, they may not have someone paying attention or there's no fee. It's free to go in. So it's just a sign of respect, but you can go in with, let's say, shorts or flip-flops or a t-shirt on with no big deal. But again, if there's service going on, they probably won't let you in, or they're not going to allow you to walk around, of course, while there's service. But just be mindful of the religious sites and dress appropriately for what you're going into. Just so the last thing you want to do is have a tour of the Vatican and St. Peter's and then have them say you can't enter because of your dress. Make sure you're following the rules on that end. That's really the one place where you got to make sure that you're dressing appropriately. Otherwise, enjoy all the food, enjoy all the drinks. It's absolutely our favorite place to visit on the planet. Hopefully it'll be yours too. As always, thank you so much for watching and enjoy your travels.